Welcome to the Inspired by Adventure podcast, bringing you the adventure across the airwaves.
All right, good morning. Today is Tuesday, March 7th, and we are here for another episode of Cup of Joe with the CEO. How are you doing today?
Great. How are you this morning, Cole?
You got your coffee?
I'm ready.
All right, good. So, Wayne, I am very jealous. You're just getting back from a Philippines Aggressor trip. Tell us about it.
So we have been running with the Philippines Aggressor right at a year now. They've done all the itineraries that they've gone through because they do several in the year. I did the 10-day Visayas, which was just an amazing trip. I mean, every day, every dive, there's so much stuff down there. I mean, I did video the entire time, and I was extremely busy underwater running from one thing to the next that all the dive masters were showing us. I mean, it was just crazy week. One of the highlights of the Visayas itinerary are the thresher sharks.
Yeah, which was high on your list to see, huh?
Yeah, I'd never seen one before.
Okay.
So we go to a new dive site now called Monad Shoals.
Okay.
Where we do 2 dives in the morning on one day. We go back and do 2 in the morning on the next day. And it's non-stop thresher shark action. I mean, the whole time. You're not sitting there waiting, nothing happening. They're around the entire time.
Wow.
Every dive. So it was just incredible. And
how many do you think you saw the whole week?
I don't know. I mean, we'd have at least 2 or 3 or 4 that would stay in the area we were at, because it's a big cleaning station. So once you find where those particular threshers are cleaning, you hang out there. And there was obviously multiple other vessels around, but the shoal is very large, and there were plenty of thresher sharks to go around for everybody to have different cleaning stations.
What's the thresher's temperament like, and what depth also are you seeing them at?
The shoal is shallow. It's 60 feet or so, okay. 40 up on the top. They're a little timid at first, but if everybody gets in position and just kind of hangs out, they get very close. I mean, they'll get within 5 or 6 feet. They're just swimming around, hanging out. I'm getting their all the cleaning from the fish, and so as long as you're just hanging there, they're not bothered by you. You don't bother them, and you can get all the photos and video that you want.
Okay. And how was the food? I know Tom Gebhardt was bragging on how good the food was, and he was coming back from his Philippines trip.
Yeah, well, this trip was a little unique in that the Aggressor Adventures executive chef Edward Mendoza was on board.
Awesome.
And so it was his time to evaluate the cuisine and maybe help elevate it, which he did. So he worked with the chef there to work with more the local products that can be curated there. And as the week went on, or the 10 days went on, you could see the cuisine getting even better from when it was. I mean, it was fine before, but now he raised the bar quite a bit, not only on the quality of the food, but the presentation started increasing, improving, and chef was very happy to have him on board for those 10 days.
Okay, great. And what other highlights as far as animals, underwater creatures that you
everything was there. So you had, I mean, on the night dives, we had the pygmy cuttlefish, we had bobtail squid, we had flamboyant cuttlefish on a dive.
Those looked really cool.
A kind of interesting story. So it was a day dive, and I was with a different group. We have 4 groups that dive there off of the vessel. And so I had told all the dive masters at the beginning of the week that, I'd love to see another flamboyant cuttlefish, because they're rare, and you see them rarely.
Right.
And so when they found one of the dive masters from another group, one of our other groups, came over and got me, and said, "Hey, let's go this way." And I'm like, "Okay." So I take off with him, knowing something's got to be great. So I get over there, and sure enough, it was a flamboyant cuttlefish. So I'm filming for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And then I see my group, come over, and so everybody starts taking pictures and filming, and we get to the surface, and we get in the tender, and my dive master said, "I didn't see him come get you." So I'm looking around, and I look for at least a minute, thinking, "I've lost the boss. I've lost the boss."
Uh-oh, gonna be in trouble now. So tell us a little bit about the diving with the CEO week. So how many are you doing a year now?
I try to do 3 a year.
Okay.
Just depends on how busy we are with new destinations. and during the week, this week or this charter, I try to do something unique for everybody.
Okay.
Rather than bring a bunch of gifts for everybody, which I'd like to do and they like to get, but they have to haul them back home depending on how big it is. This time I decided to do a seahorse diver training course. So it's 5 presentations. So each evening after dinner, I would do a presentation. It's 15-20 minutes, not long. Okay. And it's all about seahorse identification. So there's no dives that have to be conducted to complete the course. Okay. So not only on identification do you look at the crown and spikes and whether they're thorny or not. You also look at the measurement of them from the head down to the beginning of the tail. And so I passed out little 6-inch rulers to everybody that I brought so they could take down with them. So during the week, I saw them holding the little rulers. We saw the seahorses and taking pictures. And then you upload it all to iNaturalist, which is the worldwide database for tracking seahorses. Okay. And so you want to be able to identify as much as possible. So it was kind of interesting seeing them come back from the dive and they would flip through the identification guides I brought and be able to exactly identify which seahorse it was. Okay. So then they can upload it. So at the end of the trip, everybody got certified as a PADI seahorse diver.
Okay, very cool. And so where are you going next with the CEO trips?
The next one's going to be to our new Aggressor Floating Resort in Egypt.
Great. That's actually on our list. And if you want to, we can go ahead and transition to that. So it is a brand new brand for us. Why don't you tell the folks, just in case they haven't heard, because it is brand new.
So the idea is to transition divers to liveaboard divers. So we'll start with this Aggressor Floating Resort where people can come down for the week. And either they don't have to be divers, they don't even want to be divers. It's fine. We have every evening we're going to have a list of things you can do tomorrow. You want to go snorkeling, you want to go beachcombing, you want to go shopping in the local bazaar. We're in the Hilton Marina there in Hurghada. So if you want to just hang out at the marina, we have part of it is access to the Hilton. You can hang out at the pool. You can go parasailing. You can go banana boat riding. I mean, there's everything you can do, and you can go scuba diving. So every day, if you say, "Hey, tomorrow I'd like to do the 4 scuba dives that are offered," then we take you out scuba diving. Or do your training.
Yeah, it's very interesting that it's still a 7-night trip, like at the liveaboards, but yeah, you're coming back to the dock every night, and Tuesday and Friday the boat does not leave the dock. So you do have the days that you can find the stuff that you want to do around the land-based. But even if you are one of these people that are hardcore wanting to dive as much as possible, you can pay extra, a little small extra and go. I think it's like $34 right now for 2 dives.
Yeah. So the week right now is starting at just $3.99 because that's if you just want to hang out on the boat all week, that's all you're going to pay. But if you want to dive some, you want to learn how to dive, then you look at the cost of that for every day and decide what you want to do.
$3.99 for a week is crazy. I had people at the trade shows asking if that was the nightly price. I was like, no, it's the weekly price.
Right.
They think
that's right.
They think something's up.
in all of our destinations around the world, we try not to add on any more than necessary for depending on the local economy. So because things are very inexpensive in Egypt, then we pass those savings along to our customers.
And that is a initial special, intro price. Yeah. So it will go up eventually, just so everyone has understanding on that. Okay. Well, we're really excited about that. And that is in Hurghada, Egypt.
That's right. So that's the first one. It starts in a week from now or 2 weeks from now. And we'll hopefully in a year, have the understanding from it, because it's a new concept, let everybody kind of understand and digest what it's all about, and then start adding more to that brand.
It's really been popular at the trade shows again with couples that have one diver and one non-diver. So she or he can have their time at the resort while their spouse is getting the diving in that they seek. So
that's right.
And maybe we can encourage them. We can also certify them on the boat, and maybe they can become a diver.
They can do a try dive course during the week.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's stick with the liveaboards as we talked about Philippines. Real quick. When are you doing the floating resort with the CEO?
That's next spring.
Next spring. Okay. We're sticking with the liveaboards. Cayman Aggressor IV. We finally have it back, and it's been running for a month now. 4 charters in a row done. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so took the Cayman 4 to the shipyard just before the pandemic started, to completely gut it, remodel it, and bring it up to more modern standards. We always have to keep redoing all the vessels, just like you redo your house, remodel parts of your house. We have to keep remodeling the vessels. And so we took this to dry dock. Right before the pandemic, we were scheduling a year to have it gutted and remodeled and back in service. Well, obviously, with everything happening through the pandemic, it took 2 years because of supply chain and dry dock shutting down because of COVID. I mean, it was just typical issues that everybody was having around the world, which is fine.
Yeah.
So we finished it early this year and got it back to Cayman, and got all the local paperwork and processes and permits and things that you have to go through for a marine vessel. And so it's out running and doing great, and we're so happy to be back in Cayman.
Okay, well, that's great to hear about Cayman. And we also have some news coming from Raja Ampat, the Raja Ampat Aggressor. The original one we've had there is coming back.
Yep. So when COVID hit, the vessel, obviously everybody shut down, and that vessel, when COVID was over and Indonesia finally opened back up, was not available. It had been sold. And so we temporarily put in a local Panisi style vessel. And the owner of the original Raja Ampat Aggressor finished all the remodels he was doing. He rebuilt the engines and generators and complete. I mean, it's just nicer than it was probably when we had it the first time.
Oh, great.
And so we were able to finally get it back into service, and so it's running. It's on its second charter, I think, right now.
Okay.
And actually, the owner's on board this week to make sure everything is squared away and up to Aggressor standards, and we're happy to have it back.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely a popular destination. Great coral and all type of things there. Let's see. We need to talk about Cuba. So we're back in Cuba now, finally.
Yeah. So Cuba is unique in that it all revolves around the U.S. regulations and policies and procedures down there. So the way Cuba works is there's still no tourism allowed down there, but there's 12 different sections that you can send people to Cuba for as a nonprofit. So Oceans for Youth Foundation is a designated nonprofit that has the license to go to Cuba through OFAC, the Office of Foreign Asset Control, who controls all the sanctions around the world, including Cuba. So in order to go there, you have to be a nonprofit in business for over 10 years, so that you can't just start up tomorrow and decide to do it.
Yeah.
And you have to qualify with a license from OFAC under one of these options. And so it worked out for us. We were able to go back to the original license we had and operated under before President Trump had shut everything down for Cuba. And so now that President Biden has opened it back up, we were able to go back in there and restart the programs we were running before. So Aggressor runs the reservation for Oceans for Youth. So that's how the tie-in goes. Oceans for Youth is the general license holder.
Okay.
They license us to do or hire us to do their reservations. And then we in turn license to them the Aggressor standards to operate under while they're down there in Cuba.
And the only difference, the way that we're running it now than the ways we ran it before COVID hit, was that there's no visit in Havana at this time. That's right. And that's just part of their rules, right? To my understanding, it's just they don't want anybody to do any. That's right. So before we had some cultural exchanges in Cuba in Havana with the University of Havana, and some of the local museums and businesses. And so right now that's not allowed. So you can go in early and just hang out in Havana for a few days. Yeah. But if that ever comes back where we can have those cultural exchanges again, then we'll definitely add it. Yeah. And tell the viewers now about the two different liveaboards we have down there. So the Jardines de Laurentis is the Garden of the Queens, which is one of probably the best kept secret in the Caribbean for corals and reef life. It's been a marine park for almost close to 30 years now. Okay. Fidel was a huge scuba diver,
And so his goal was always to help save that area as a national park.
Okay.
And it's made a huge difference in the marine life down there. So I've never seen as many Caribbean reef sharks on a dive as you get there in Garden of the Queens.
Really?
I mean, they're just all over. You have Goliath grouper on the dives. I mean, it's really, really an amazing feat for Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go over to our second area for Zapata, or Bay of Pigs area, and you have the largest coral, Elkhorn coral reefs I've seen anywhere in the Caribbean.
Really?
I mean, as far as you can see, you have Elkhorn coral, and you don't get that anywhere else that I've seen in the Caribbean that big. I mean, it's just acres of it. And then of course you have all you have walls there, which is unique because you don't really have walls in Garden of the Queens, and all the reef life that goes along with it.
Okay, very cool. One last thing we have to talk about today is the Aggressor Safari Lodges is ramping back up, and they have been very proactive in doing additions and renovations to the property. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yeah, our owners there in the Aggressor Safari Lodge, Sri Lanka, really have worked hard the last few months, knowing that reopening was coming, and have redone the whole entire pool deck. They did a lot of the walkways. They remodeled some of the tenant chalets, the restaurant, the outdoor coffee station. I mean, they've really
front gate too.
Yeah, the front gates and fences. They completely redid all those. I mean, they've really put a lot of effort into getting it ready for our customers. The other good thing about their projects there is one of the unique critters you want to see in Sri Lanka, besides the leopards, is the loris.
Yeah.
And we were having to go south down to Monkey Kingdom area to see those, and they started seeing them more frequently at the Safari Lodge because they come out in the evening and at night.
Okay.
And now they're there every night. So our customers will be able to see those and stay at the Safari Lodge rather than have to travel and spend the night somewhere else to be able to see those.
That's awesome. So yeah, you don't even have to leave. You don't have to leave the property. There's so much stuff to see there at the property. They had an alligator or a crocodile floating down the river. There's a creek that there's a big
river that runs right on the border of the lodge, and you occasionally have the crocodiles coming through.
Oh man, so much to see even when you're at the lodge, and then you're going to get out and do the Jeep safaris and see all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Very exciting stuff there. Okay. Well, anything else we got?
No, we have a lot of new destinations coming up that we'll talk about later. That we got a few more we'll announce later this year that are almost ready to go.
Okay.
Everything from scuba diving to safari lodges. So that's going to be an exciting year.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Okay. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time on Cup of Joe with CEO.
Thanks,
Take care. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into the Inspired by Adventure podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you haven't already, please subscribe through iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. See you next time.